Hello, everyone, and welcome to another one of our interviews. And today I'm delighted to be sitting down with one of the friends of the channel, and that is, of course, Charlie Tanfield, who went to, I almost said Tokyo Olympics. You went to that, but you went to the Paris Olympics as well. And yeah, we'll talk through all of that and what you've been doing since as well, and what you're planning on doing. Great to have you here, Charlie. And yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me back on. It's always good chat. Yeah.
Still not quite done. Bigham's seven interview, but you're getting closer. You're getting closer. But in terms of Paris Olympics, we might as well just start there. Actually, no, let's start throughout the year because there was a few things that happened. European champion, and you were at the World. I think the World's. Let's get to the Olympics later, but the World Championships, you were probably in the most hostile environment you could be at the back court of Denmark with the Danish team.
With a full Danish crowd, it felt like there was an angry mob coming after us. But yeah, it was a good race. I actually I'm glad I actually went to it. It was difficult for me to like turn myself around after the games, but it was nice, I think, to compete there, and it was a good experience when I look back on it. Yeah, so yeah, it's good.
European Championships, how was that? I can't remember where it was actually. Was it in the Netherlands this year?
Yeah, it was in Apeldoorn. That was the first race of the year for us, the first one in the Olympic cycle. So it was actually quite a high pressure race for me, that one. In terms of selection, I had to perform, and it was clear to me that beforehand, if I didn't perform, then not only would I have not got a result in the race, but I wouldn't have been going to the games. Yeah, that one was a really stressful experience, actually. But I had huge elation actually after that race. It went well in the end, which was the main thing, and it was such a huge relief, like a lot of weight off my shoulders to have actually done a good performance and done what I felt I was capable of doing.
How is it like doing a team pursuit? Obviously, as a viewer, we see it and we don't really appreciate how hard it is. Is it just a smash fest, or is there a lot of like you need to realize what's going on with the other riders very quickly?
Yeah, exactly. You do need to be very aware of your teammates, their quirk, and also just like characteristics of them. So some of the riders have a lot lower CDA, some of them have better CDAs. So you need to be able to measure your effort on the front so that when you get back in the line, you're able to withstand sitting on their wheel till the end of the race. Some of the guys that are really small, I'm doing upwards of 500 watts on their wheel. So I'm basically doing, like a substantial amount just to be in P2. So obviously there's that you need to take into account, the start, and also being able to draft really well, because I think that's one of the main things which we kind of sometimes overlook, but being able to draft really efficiently in front of your teammate saves a lot of energy and it helps your teammates too. So it's a win-win, but that all comes with practice. So
Has it kind of been a lot of innovation just in like the strategy of the riders?
yeah, we changed our strategy for Euros this year. We would always bail the P1 rider. No, we wouldn't do that. We would always bail the P2 rider, sorry. So that was always the way that we rode the race. And I think GB have done that ever since, well, I think since Ed Clancy was in the team. And it's not changed. And we were pushing for this new strategy where we would try and bail P1 instead of P2. And that was actually the first race which we tried it. We immediately went the quickest that we've ever gone since Tokyo, which was outrageous conditions. So that was like a bit of a light bulb moment for us where we kind of realized, oh, wow, this strategy might actually have legs. And I think that was a great moment for us, just in terms of the realization that this could actually be a nice little performance game for us.
What was it like leading up to Paris, the Olympics for you? How do you guys prepare? How do you train for this kind of thing? Is there a lot of road miles?
Yeah.
You do have Ethan Hayton there as well, who's a road cyclist.
Yeah, it's a lot of road. We actually don't do that much track, to be fair. And also we can't because most of our team, they're World Tour riders and they've got their road racing obligations. So for us to come together as a squad, we can't actually do that just because they're off in, I don't know, China or wherever it is, trying to win races. So we tend to do all of our training before the track on the road, various training camps, and then we go into track blocks before the race where we'll do maybe a 3-day block, 4-day block, and we kind of just hone in our skills there. But I think we're really lucky actually in terms of we've been doing it for so long that it kind of comes back to us, like it's kind of like almost like muscle memory kind of thing. So we're in a position where we can do that. Whereas I think maybe some guys who are quite new to it and stuff, they would need a lot more track time to be able to be like the finished article on race day, you know.
What kind of things do you actually do in these blocks? Is it just riding, doing like team pursuits for 7 hours?
Pretty up for 7 hours, just four of us. No, it's mainly we are like quite on the boundary here between like endurance and sprint. It's like kind of like on a crossover. It's a short event, and yeah, it is heavily dominated by endurance, but also strength comes into it quite a lot. So there's a bit of a hybrid in how we train, and I try to make sure I keep on top of my gym work, but also ensuring that I'm training consistently and doing enough hours to give myself those endurance adaptations. So it really is a kind of niche within the sport where you are trying to train the two systems, because obviously you need the strength to get off the line, but you also need to be able to do those high watts towards the back end of the race and not fall off a cliff edge, you know, like a sprinter in a kilo. So it is a bit of a balancing act, really.
What kind of watts are you doing for like well, I was going to say 4 minutes, but hopefully it should be under 4 minutes for you guys.
Yeah, well, it varies really depending on what role you're in the line. So if you're, say, a P1, obviously you're bailing those guys. I don't even know, to be honest. I've never done a P1, so I don't know. But for me, it's usually around 5:20, 5:30, I think, if I'm like going well. But the actual dynamics of the whole race has changed from before. It used to be you would do like high, like 700 watts plus on the front, whereas now you're not doing as many watts on the front, but you're doing a lot more in the line. So it's become more of a sort of flatline effort. It's much less of a like peak and trough kind of effort. So obviously we need to train towards those demands to make sure that, yeah, we're doing it right. But
anyway, I mean, the world record is tumbling. Do you think it's more about the strategy, like you said, not having that big outburst and smoothing it out more?
I think it's a bit of everything. I think the level has raised so much in the last 4 or 5 years. And I think it's a combination of when teams get a group of riders and they get it right, it's kind of like exponential. It compounds. If you have 4 good guys compared to 3 good guys, like the performance is going to go up so much. Coupled with, new equipment, new technology, everything's a lot more, it's a lot more measured now. And all of these things have come together, and it's just been an absolute arms race, and the times have tumbled. And it was only recently, I think, that it's actually kind of started to kind of steady off a little bit more. But between the Rio and Tokyo period, there was a huge drop in times. And I think the world record went from a 350, I think it was a 350 in London, all the way down to in Rio, it was a 350, all the way down to a 342 it was in Tokyo. It dropped 8. It's just insane. Like, the amount of time that they knocked off it was absolutely crazy. And it really was this time where it was like a revolution in the sport, and everything kind of changed. And then obviously after Tokyo, no records were broken until the next games in Paris. So for me, it was a surprise that we were able to go that fast, just because it was seen, I don't know, it just seemed like we'd kind of reached this level where we'd improved so much that I thought, like, how can you improve on top of this? And somehow we managed to, like, I don't know, it's like the sport keeps on improving. You never really think to yourself, oh, where's it going to go from here? But we end up finding a way some point. And yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, okay. Strategy, you're kind of going over that. Obviously, you have your bike as well, the Hope technology bike, which we've actually talked about here on this channel. And what else? You've got are you guys more slippery as well with the skin suit? Is that like a thing? Like, I'm treading into Dan Bigham territory here.
So, yeah.
Did you measure your temperature control as well?
Yeah. Well, our event's quite short, so temperature management during the race itself, it's not really an issue. Maybe in a warm-up, but yeah, I think, I think now there's not really any places where you look and you find these huge advantages. I think a lot of the way that it's done now is it's more of like an iterative process where you find little bits of gains here and there, and when you can try and stack them all together, they make a big difference. Team GB, we've been lucky that we're so well supported that we're able to ride such good kit, and yeah, it really is. It feels like a privilege to be able to be supported that well compared to some of the other nations. They're not lucky enough to have that. So,
how was your Paris Olympics? How was the whole event from like
Yeah.
the beds that were rumored? Did you guys actually stay in the?
We stayed there for the last night after the closing ceremony. We had a great big blowout afterwards and a big celebration, and yeah, the whole event in itself was a great experience. And compared to Tokyo, it was night and day. I mean, Tokyo, I didn't manage to get there in the squad. I was a reserve, so I was on my own. Well, I was with the sprint reserve, Phil Hines, and we were kind of on our own hotel. We weren't even with the other guys, so it was a terrible experience. Tokyo and Paris was. I didn't really see what it was all about until we got there and realized the actual scale of the whole thing. It literally shut down the whole of Paris. It was an amazing experience, and I was determined this time round to just enjoy it. Obviously, the result has a big bearing on that, but just try and make the most of it because I might not be lucky enough to get back to another Olympics. So yeah, I was just trying to make the most of it. And I think that actually helped with performance too. So yeah, we did the race and then went out with on the media cycle thing, and then we did that athlete stage walkout thing where we walked out in front of the crowds. It was actually Ethan Brennan at the time saying, "Oh, do you want to come and do this with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Like, I'll come with this." I was expecting like 20 people just to be like, well done, like you and walk out the stage. We walked out and there was 30,000 people there. It was absolutely crazy, and there was music blasting. The Eiffel Tower was like the backdrop for it. It really was surreal. Felt like a celebrity for 24 hours, and then come back home and normal life resumed. So it was fun, it was a really good experience, and I'm actually just proud to be in the squad. Like that was such a big thing.
Part I noticed you didn't say. How was the races themselves?
Short race.
Because I guess you had the qualification and then you knocked out the Danes, which I was quite unhappy about. Or was it the Danes you knocked out in the semi-final?
Yeah, in round one we did. Yeah, it was actually a really weird build up to the race, and it was probably one of the most difficult races to actually come to and stay positive, because I was told before the race that I wasn't riding qualification, and obviously that's difficult to take, but then also there was no sign of if I was actually going to get put in for round one or the finals. So it's kind of like at the time I was like, oh, like I've done all of this, I've got this far, and I'm going to fall at the last hurdle, and like, am I even going to be able to race? So it went from qualification happening, we went and did a good time, to the night before round one actually being put into the race. So at that point before that, I didn't know if I was going to race. So I was put in for round one. So I was like, sweet, I get to ride in the Olympics. This is amazing. To finishing the qualification rounds and winning it and being guaranteed a medal. And it just went from like 0 to 100, like real quick. And just winning round one in itself was like, for me, that was like a huge thing because, obviously we secured the medal and it was a weight off our shoulders that we were actually going to get a medal, even though we really wanted the gold. So yeah, it was like an amazing day. And we went pretty fast, which was nice. That was one of the good things as well. So
what was the final like? It was pretty intense to watch.
Yes, the final. Wow, it was kind of like it's hard to describe it, but I've never felt such like excitement or what's the word for it? Like exhilaration before. Like it was just like any other race, but just turned up to like maximum volume. Like there was a packed out crowd, there was a lot of Brits there, and we were against our old rivals, the Aussies. That was another big thing which really like motivated us on a little bit more. Like nothing can prepare you for what it feels like, and we set off and like you can't feel your legs. Like there's so much like adrenaline going through your body, you don't know what's happening. Like, and I'm trying to like get on this wheel real smooth, and like I'm just like twitching like this because I'm just so full of adrenaline, and like you can't really measure things. It's so difficult. But yeah, like in the end we managed to do a good performance, but we did fall a little bit short. So yeah, there's always that, and you always think about afterwards ifs and buts overall, it was a good experience.
Yeah, looking at it, European Championships, you guys won that. Olympics, Australia, the Worlds in Denmark, Denmark win. I mean, and then you've got the Italians as well. So it's like a four-horse race, and you guys all seem very yeah, like you said earlier, it's an arms race, and it seems so close between all the nations. I would hate to be the fifth nation because it seems like there's a huge step up.
Yeah, there's probably yeah, there's us three at the front, well, four maybe, but yeah, like there is definitely different levels currently, but obviously it changes, and like things like ebb and flow, and teams aren't always the quickest, and like it's no guarantee that just because that was the case in the last race that it'll be the same case in the next race. So I don't think you can ever be complacent. You've always got to make sure that yeah, you're on top form really.
Well, can we see the medal as well? This is going to be a first on the podcast, an Olympic medal.
Oh really? I see it's guy's box.
That's right. A little unboxing video.
Yeah, it's an unboxing. I'll do it. There you go.
Hey guys,
Does that work?
this is what the Olympics said me.
Yeah. Fancy box.
So you don't actually get the medal; you get a box afterwards. Or when do you get the?
You get this fancy box. Oh, the medal's falling out. Hang on. It's not a very good unboxing video. There you go. And you get like so you get,
Very nice.
yeah, and the medal itself it's really heavy. Like it's actually quite surprising how heavy it was, and you can see on the back there it's got that's yeah, and then that there's the piece of the Eiffel Tower, and nice and
Nice.
yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, fancy box.
Yeah, it is actually, isn't it? I'm surprised by the box.
I thought it was just the medal you got. I didn't think you'd get extra things.
They went all out on it. Apparently, it was the box is made by Louis Vuitton, which is another huge place. So yeah, there you go.
But I mean, you mentioned that a number of your teammates are world tour riders or riding on the road.
Yes.
Why are you not riding for like Cofidis or EF or something, and they roll you out for all these prologues and time trials, etc.? Are you not interested?
I am interested. I would love to do that. But I think these teams they want a rider that can do both. I'll be honest with you, like I've not got the watts per kilo to be good in road races. So I can do really good flat TTs. I can do really good prologues. So if anybody wants to sign me up for that, then be my guest. But I've just realized as I've got older, I really want to stick to the things that I'm good at and do those things really well. So I've got some opportunities in the next year or two to try different things.
Didn't you try Madison recently?
I did actually, yeah. I did London 3-day Madison, and I really enjoyed that. So that's another thing I want to get stuck into because I think I can be good at that, and yeah, we'll see how it goes in the future. But I love the track, and I think that's going to be my priority for the next 4 years anyway. So yeah, I'm sticking with that, and I'll do some time trials on the side. But yeah, I'm not a road racer. I I'm not very good on climbs, so yeah, it is what it is, really.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Madison is kind of that point between sprint and endurance. So
yeah, Madison. It's a full 50 minutes flat out. Well, I say flat out. The rider in the race is flat out, but that's a really interesting event, and it actually excites me quite a lot in terms of the tactics and how to race it, and just getting stuck into it. Like that's something that really gets me going. So I'm definitely going to take that up for this next few years. Yeah, I've got other things planned as well for in between in the next year or two. So yeah, I've got things going on, which is nice. Obviously, you don't want to be having the post games blues.
BMX.
Yeah. What's it called? Downhill mountain biking.
Oh yeah. That would be great.
Well, yes. I'd last 10 minutes. Not even that.
I think I would last less than that. But I mean, it's the individual, because obviously you're very good at the individual pursuit as well. Is that something that's coming back into the Olympic realm, or is it just completely been,
I can't see it coming back into the Olympics.
well, we have to have like 16 events of swimming?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. They're so tight on the events and actually the amount of athletes that go that they won't put it in. Like it's such a like the games is such a small like amount of what track sizing is. Obviously, they've got to factor in so many events over the whole games that they can't have 20 or 30 medals for the cycling. You know, like
Why not?
yeah, well, I I I would have that if they wanted to, but obviously, yeah, I still think that like a close IP final. There's nothing more exciting than that. I get so excited for that, and yeah, it's great to watch it. But yeah, they took it out, so it's just Worlds and Euros.
So how are you going to keep yourself occupied until the LA Olympics then?
Yeah. So I actually this year I really want to try and develop, myself. So I've actually had this. I don't know if it's a stupid idea or what, but I'd love to try and give an hour a go on the track.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Um,
where have I heard this before?
yeah, I know. It's something I've wanted to do since I was, well, ever since Bradley Wiggins took the hour record. I don't know how old I would have been then. And it's interested me since I've been doing track cycling. So yeah, I'm not one of these arrogant people or delusional people that think that they're going to take Ghana's record, because I don't. But I just simply want to give it a go just to say that I've done it. It's been on my list of things to do in my career since I've started. So now's the opportunity to give it a go, develop myself, find out new things, try new projects. So it's kind of like a journey of self-improvement, I guess. And just seeing, what's possible. Like physically, it might not even be possible for me to develop and be able to ride the hour at a competitive power. So there's that, obviously. And I've done some practice runs actually on the Prizik outdoor circuit in Middlesbrough. So just on my TT Viking training gear, and I cannot describe to you the amount of pain that I feel on my gooch. It's horrendous. So there's that, which you have to contend with, and yeah, there's a lot of things. I'm just at the start of it, so there's a lot of things which I need to try and get through and figure out and solve. So yeah, it's very early stages, but that's what I want to try and do this winter and springtime, which gives me something to do really, and gets me excited, which is I think the main thing.
I mean, you know Dan Bigham very well, so I'm sure Dan would help a lot with that.
Yeah,
Or maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he's like, I'm not going to tell you any secrets because I don't want to be knocked off my second place.
I don't know really. I've not really asked him like straight up if he want to help with it, but he's quite open with a lot of things.
I'm sure he would help.
I mean, records are there to be broken, aren't they? But I'm not saying that I would break it, but someone will at some point. So
how well do you know Ghana? Can't you ask him for some advice?
yeah, I don't think he knows me that well, to be honest. I said well done to him at the games, but I don't think he really saw me. So yeah, I don't know him, and I know that yeah, he's an absolute powerhouse. I've not got those numbers to play with.
But where would you do it? I mean, are you going to go to Bolivia?
No, I'm not going to go to Bolivia. I wouldn't do it at an altitude place just because you have to spend at least a month at altitude before you do it, and it's too much of a sacrifice to actually go and do to acclimatize. I'd consider around the 1,000-meter mark. So yeah, people can do their own maths on that and see what velodromes are available. I've been through the list of every single velodrome in the world, and I found a few candidates, but there's a few rogue ones. So I need to actually finalize if it's actually possible to go there and do it. There's one in China, which is it's at 1,000 meters. That's perfect for me, I think, because you get the climate, but you'll also not trade off too much with the air being too thin. So you could get away with doing that off like just one altitude camp. Obviously, that would acclimatize you, but you don't need to be there for months on end beforehand. But as I say, early stages, so I'll do a few attempts at sea level first, just to actually dip my toes in the water and see what's possible, really. Yeah. So that's what I'm up to at the moment.
Well, thank you for that, Charlie. That was a nice little note to end on. But yeah, really cool to see your medal and really cool to see that you're doing great. Yeah, we'll catch up with you before that, hopefully, or after our record attempt. That would be really cool to follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks and see you in next time.
See you in a bit. Bye.